Morarji Desai, the ascetic Prime Minister of India. The person who brought ideas to life, what he professed in matters of economic planning and financial management. Morarji Desai was far ahead of his time. A man with a calm and peaceful demeanor, he was one of the most disciplined leaders of our nation. He led India at a time when the country's democratic fabric was under threat. Our generation will be indebted to this man who has dedicated himself to the national movement. He worked tirelessly to defend democracy as well as from emergencies. He earned him a reputation for his administration and leadership. He believed that the concepts of socialism and preaching would be in vain unless the poor and the disadvantaged have a good standard of life. For him, truth was an article of faith and not an advantage. His undeterred enthusiasm was always evident. No number of controversies and convictions could hurt his determination. In the international arena, Desai is renowned for his peacekeeping activities, especially his efforts to bring peace between the two, Pakistani and India. Formative years. Morarji Desai was born into an Anavil Brahmin family in Gujarat. His father's name is Ranchorji Nagarji Desai and his mother's name is Vajiabain Desai. He was born in Bhadeli, Bulsar district, Bombay Presidency, British India on February 29, 1896, as the eldest of 8 children. His father was a school teacher. Education. Desai attended elementary school at Kundla School, Savarkundla, and later joined Bai Awa Bai High School, Valsad. After graduating from Wilson College, Mumbai, he joined the civil service in Gujarat. Desai resigned as Godra's deputy collector in May 1930 after being convicted of condescending to Hindus during the riots of 1927-1928. Role in freedom struggle. Morarji Desai later joined the freedom struggle under Mahatma Gandhi and joined the civil disobedience movement against British imperialistic rule in India. When it came to the country's independence, family problems were subordinate, he said in support of his decision. He spent many years in prison fighting for freedom, and thanks to his sharp leadership skills and tough spirit, he became a favorite of freedom fighters and an important leader of the Indian National Congress in the Gujarat region. When provincial elections were held in 1934 and 1937, Desai was elected and served as Bombay's Minister of Revenue and Home Minister. He was also the first political leader to support the freedom of sexual minorities and stressed on their emancipation. Political career. Before India gained independence, he became Mumbai's Home Minister and was later elected Mumbai's Chief Minister in 1952. This was a period when language state movements grew. Bombay was a bilingual state, home to Gujarati and Marathi speakers. From 1956, the activist organization Samyukta Maharashtra Samiti led the Marathi-speaking movement for Maharashtra. Despite his Gandhi ideals, Desai ordered the police to open fire on the Samyukta Maharashtra Samiti demonstrators who gathered at the Flora fountain to claim a Marathi-speaking state. The demonstrators were led by Senapati Babat. In the massacre that followed, 105 protesters were killed, including an 11-year-old girl. The problem escalated and is believed to have forced the central government to agree to 2 separate states based on language. Later, the Flora fountain was renamed Huta Chowk, Martyrs Square, in honor of those killed in the shooting. Desai then moved to Delhi when he was appointed as Finance Minister in Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's government. Desai was a conservative man who promoted business and supported free organization reform, contrary to Prime Minister Jawaharlal Nehru's socialist policies. Leading Congress as a fierce and anti-corruption nationalist, Desai was at odds with Prime Minister Nehru and his allies. Then deceased Desai was flanked in a leadership contest by Lal Bahadur Shastri. Desai was invited but did not join the short-lived Shastri's cabinet. The unexpected departure of Prime Minister Lal Bahadur Shastri once again made Desai a contender for the top position. However, he was defeated by Nehru's daughter Indira Gandhi in the Congress leadership election by a large margin. Serving in Indira Gandhi's cabinet, Desai held the position of Deputy Prime Minister and Minister of Finance of India in the government of Indira Gandhi until July 1969, when Prime Minister Gandhi took the finance portfolio from him, but he was asked to serve as Deputy Prime Minister. However, to save his self-esteem, Desai submitted his resignation from the Gandhi government. Congress split, divide to rule. When the Congress party split in 1969, Desai joined the Indian National Congress faction of the party, while Indira Gandhi formed a new faction called the Indian National Congress Supporters. Subsequently, the faction of Desai were called Syndicate and Indira's factions were called Indicate. Indira Gandhi's faction won the general elections of the Indian Parliament in 1971 by an overwhelming majority. Desai was elected, however, as a member of the Lok Sabha Parliament. In 1975, the Allahabad High Court indicted Indira Gandhi for electoral fraud after opponents alleged that she had used government personnel and equipment during the campaign for the 1971 general elections. During the ensuing state of emergency in 1975 to 1977, Desai and other opposition leaders were imprisoned by the government of Indira Gandhi as part of massive repression. Janata Wave and subsequent victory. A popular anti-corruption movement led by Jayaprakash Narayan and the Janata Wave in 1977 resulted in the utter defeat of the Congress party in North India and a convincing victory for the Janata Opposition Alliance in the national elections held in March 1977. Desai was chosen by the Janata Alliance, later the Janata Party, as their parliamentary leader, thus becoming India's first non-Congress Prime Minister. Premiership 1977 to 1979. Reforms and policies. Desai restored normal relations with China for the first time since the 1962 war. He also communicated with Pakistan's military ruler, General Zia-ul-Haq, and established friendly relations. Despite his pacifist leanings, he refused to sign the Non-Nuclear Proliferation Treaty despite the threat of the US Congress to halt the supply of uranium for power plants. Desai played a pivotal role in India's nuclear program after it was attacked by major nuclear powers after India conducted a surprise nuclear test in 1974. Internationally, he reaffirmed India's position that it would not manufacture nuclear weapons and it would refrain from even carrying out nuclear explosions for peaceful purposes. Desai had described the Research and Analysis Wing, RAW, India's external intelligence agency, as Indira Gandhi's Praetorian Guard and had promised to stop all raw activities after becoming Prime Minister. He closed much of the agency and cut its budget and operations. His government rolled back many constitutional amendments made during the emergency and made it more difficult for any further government to impose a national emergency. Collapse of Janata government and his subsequent retirement. The Janata Party coalition was full of personal and political disagreements and thus failed to achieve much. In 1979, Raj Narayan and Charan Singh withdrew from the Janata Party, forcing Desai to resign his post and retire from politics. The main reason for the collapse was the demand of the duo and other left-leaning members that no member of the Janata Party could simultaneously be a member of an alternative political organization. This attack on dual membership was specifically directed at those members who were members of the Jan Sangh and who continued their membership in the Rashtriya Swayamsevak Sangh. Desai, however, resigned in 1979 as a result of the splits. Desai campaigned for the Janata Party in 1980 general election as a prominent politician, but did not run in the elections himself. Apparently, the Janata Party collapsed and the Indira Congress returned to power in 1980. Death. In retirement, Desai dedicated himself to searching for truth and God. When he retired, he lived in Mumbai and died on 10 April 1995 at the age of 99. He was hospitalized with low blood pressure and a chest infection and died after undergoing surgery due to blood clot in the brain. Lifestyle and urine therapy. In addition to his distinguished political career, Desai is also known for his personality. He had a unique lifestyle. He was a strict vegetarian and ate a diet of fruit and milk and urine. Until his death, Desai remained faithful to the principles of Gandhi. The Prime Minister said urinary therapy was the perfect medical solution for the millions of Indians who couldn't afford their medical care. He also attributed his longevity to drinking urine, which he called the water of life. Legacy. Morarji Desai, India's first non-Congress PM, was the only Indian who won the Bharat Ratna and Pakistan's highest civilian award, the Nishan-e-Pakistan. Controversy involving Desai. Honest man fighting for truth. Morarji Desai's historic reputation was tarnished by the words of Pulitzer Prize-winning journalist Seymour Hersh, when he, in his 1983 book, The Price of Power, identified Desai as an informant for the Foundation's Central Intelligence Agency, CIA, who was paid $20,000 a year during the Johnson administration and who leaked Indian cabinet secrets in 1971, which Desai explicitly denied. Conclusion. Morarji Desai led an austere lifestyle that exuded simplicity, and he always lived a spiritual life. A man of great integrity and tenacity, the stern Desai was driven by a strong conviction that he had a selfless mission to accomplish. However, he led a tumultuous and controversial political life. His administration was full of discord. Apparently, no amount of criticism could stop him from expressing his thoughts. Indeed, he seldom minced his words. He constantly tried to imbue his career with spirituality and justice. This ascetic Prime Minister of India will be remembered, and we should be grateful for his contribution to our people.